Welcome to the future of the internet, where you can listen to people talk about movies that probably shouldn't be talked about.
Yeah.
Like the films we're covering today on Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for cult movie discussion. We are your hosts. I am Bill. That is Chris. We are ready to do this today, right, bud?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go.
I'm good. Let's go. So this week on the show, we are doing a little talked about Malcolm McDowell flick.
Yeah.
Called The Caller. Yeah. Interesting one, right?
Yeah, I had sent you a message.
You did.
Early into the movie, about halfway through. That's early to me. And I thought I had figured the whole thing out. Because I'm actually, I can be kind of good at that. And I was fucking wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. Well, I was a little bit right. But not in the way I wanted to be. This had an interesting turn, I think is the best way to say it.
All right. I forgot to ask you, since you're using the old mixer, you do have Mix Minus on USB,
yes.
right? All right, good. Just wanted to make sure and not have us not figure that out. Like when I go to edit it and I'm like, oh, there's 4 audio files that are all just not quite in sync.
Oh, no. Let me hit that. And then what do? I go to that. And then it's advanced. And then it's, let me see if I can remember here. That one.
You watched some YouTube videos on it, didn't you?
USB mix. No, every time I plug this fucking thing in, it's like, did you turn on Mix Minus? Like, why don't you just have that as the default? Come on.
So, Chris, so we bought a new Rode mixer for the home studio here, and then we moved the one we were using over to Chris's studio, because he hadn't had a new mixer in the studio in a number of years. So that's what your Patreon money goes for.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what it goes for.
Yeah.
Join it, patreon.com/outside the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
$5 a month. Get you access to the stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad.
$10 a month. We will kiss your ass physically and figuratively.
I get to do the figuratively part.
I
called
will gladly
it first.
do. Gladly do the physical part. I will do that for our friends and our fans and our family. I don't care.
Okay.
I care. Maybe that's the problem.
It could be. I don't even know what's happening.
Is it I care? We got Andrew Kelly sent us a comment on the Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Andrew's been a fan for many years, dating back to what he dating back to our show from last week. Figure we'll talk about this here just briefly here at the top of the show. I like Chris's idea that Ghostwatch may have been named after Springwatch, but alas, Springwatch started over a decade after Ghostwatch was aired.
That's what I was thinking.
So maybe
after.
Spring was indeed named after Ghost. Given that Ghostwatch was never intended to be an actual hoax, so trying to sound like a real documentary probably wasn't as high on their list of priorities as some may think. It's more likely it was trying to sound more like a 70s sci-fi thriller, Doomwatch. But I haven't read anything to suggest that from my idea.
Oh, I gotta look.
Interesting.
That up.
I always like when Andrew will chime in.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I've heard of Springwatch. I watched one episode, but I never, before I floated my theory, I never looked it up to see when it started. So that's my fault.
David sent in a couple requests too. Do we have access to Australian Amazon Prime?
I think through a VPN we could, right?
We could. I've never tried actually.
Yeah.
But
what are we looking
so David
for?
Well, he didn't give me the specifics. He was like, "Hey, would you guys be able to get Australian Amazon Prime?
Oh, okay.
Or potentially Australian Netflix?"
Okay.
But I would say, David, send us the pics, and we can probably track them down. In the 15 years we've done the show, there's been less than maybe 5 or 6 films.
Yeah, I was gonna say
able to track down.
I was gonna say less than 10 overall. So yeah.
Okay, that's probably a good. There's been some that we vetoed.
Very few, but yes.
But I'm actually, you know what? There's a bunch of messages here from Patreon that I've been meaning to go through. So, Carl, who is doing our letterbox.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Episode guide. He's got over 100 episodes and 250 films on the list. At the time he sent this, which was a couple weeks ago, he was up to episode 685, or he's going backwards, I believe.
Okay.
It's 685. So if you are on Letterboxd, do a search for OTC or search for Outside the Cinema. The list should show up. And I think next week he wants to do, so he gave us a couple of suggestions here. And I think we did these, but I think we did them in OTC BC.
Okay.
Did we do the yokai monster films with you on the show?
No, I've never seen those. And I know because one of my kids' friends is into all the yokai monsters, and I'm like, I should probably watch those at some point.
Yeah,
and
so
I
you're
know
gonna get to
I
watch
never
2 of them for next week. You'll get to watch 2 of them for next
Sounds
week.
good.
100 Monsters and Spooky Warfare.
Well, one of them
both-
is setting itself up for failure if it doesn't have 100 monsters in it. Just pointing that out.
It's true. That's true. So we'll do both of those next week for Carl because he is working on our letterbox list. I think both of them are currently available to watch on Shudder. There's also some really cool collector's editions of them that were released a couple years ago. They're interesting flicks, to say the least.
Good.
So we're going to do both of those next week. Howard had sent in a message too. He says, Killer Moon or The Police Are Blundering in the Dark for Patreon.
I think
Flicks.
I've heard of that second one. Is that Italian?
I mean, blundering. The police are blundering in the dark.
I mean,
I will give you one guess where that movie is from.
Yeah.
So we'll look into those two. I think Killer Moon. I feel we covered Killer Moon. That's just Franco, if I'm not mistaken. We did do that, but I'm sure it was long enough ago that we could probably revisit it and not be an issue.
Yeah.
Howard also goes on to say, "Oh, Cannibal Man, which is extraordinary, just not for the reasons that you think it would be." So, let's see here. I'm just going through. I don't think there's any other ones that we would need to address. Cool. All right. So this week on the show, as we were saying, we are doing The Caller with Malcolm McDowell. And I already forgot what the other one was.
Virtual Assassin.
Virtual Assassin starring Michael Dudikoff. Which is in some ways the most amazing and also the most lazy Die Hard ripoff you've ever seen.
Oh my God, it rips off so many movies. So many.
It rips off. I mean, it goes hard on on Die Hard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely Die Hard. But it's Die Hard, and there's definitely like 2 other movies it really ripped off from.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it's not the most interesting movie in the world. I will say that.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have any other stuff to talk about here. Let's see if we can grab a trailer for The Caller, which would be on Tubi.
Yeah, they were both Tubies.
All right, let's see here. The Caller. I feel like my voice is very sexy today. So the Tubi app doesn't let you watch the trailers?
Oh, I don't know.
I do know that when I watch Tubi on my computer or on the TV, it never stops playing the trailers.
That's true. Yeah.
And, like, you turn it on and it immediately is like, hey, watch this.
And the best way to pick a bad movie is to watch one where it doesn't have an automatic trailer.
Right. Yeah. Because like they couldn't even find one. They tried. God bless them. But sorry, kids.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
I guess we got to go to YouTube and chance getting a commercial from a sponsor that's not ours.
Yep. That will happen.
I mean, it's, it is what it is. The Caller, 1987. All right, here. Is that the right one? That doesn't look. Here we go. Oh, that's the whole movie.
That would be interesting. The trailer for that thing. How would you even?
There isn't a trailer here.
Wow.
There's one for a movie called The Caller from like 10 years ago. It's not the same thing. The whole film is currently on YouTube.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not getting. I have no luck over here either.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
That's bizarre because there's some. It's got Malcolm McDowell in it.
Yeah, and the actress, I forget her name, but she's been in a lot of stuff too. So, I mean, not name recognition like McDowell, but still.
Right. Yeah, no trailer on IMDb either.
Weird.
Things that are interesting. Madeline Smith Osborne, she was Madeline Smith at the time. Her and Malcolm McDowell are the only two people in the film.
Oh, yeah.
They're the only two characters.
Huh.
The director, Arthur Allen Seidelman, not a lot here, man. Looks like he did a musical version of A Christmas Carol in 2004. And then he did some paycheck work for, it looks like, places like Lifetime or something like that.
Okay.
But not a lot of stuff on here.
Huh.
Some low budget direct-to-video stuff.
Yeah, all I get, even when I widen the search out or narrow it down, is I get the full movie and then a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, nothing.
That is so weird.
All right, well, Malcolm McDowell plays the caller. And Madeline Smith Osborne plays the girl.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the only two people in it. Very simple premise upon its first inkling. You have a woman. She's living in an isolated cabin up in the woods somewhere.
Yep.
We are introduced to the fact that she's very much the only one around because she stops to get gas for her car at the beginning of the movie. And is like, hey, I'm getting some gas.
Yeah.
And no one comes out. And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to leave the money on the pump here. Bye. And she leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also I noticed that anytime, like, we don't see, if I'm not mistaken, we don't see anybody else, even when she's coming out of the supermarket.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, because he pulls up all stupid in that car wearing his brand new Bane coat. And then it's like, and yeah, there's no one around to be like, hey, why are you driving like an asshole?
Right.
This movie raises so many questions.
Agreed. Because it opens, like the opening of the film is a picture of the woman and an axe being raised and then being brought down. That's how the film opens. So you're like, okay, what is it? Somebody get murdered or like what's going on here? Right. And then we see her coming out of the supermarket carrying a bag of groceries. Nobody else around. I'm watching it right now. There's literally not another person to be seen anywhere. There's some mannequins in the window of the store that she walks by, but she's got all her groceries. And then the other thing though is like, were there people in the supermarket? Like when she got the groceries or like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
So then we're immediately introduced to the fact that she's very much on her own. She's got this hat box in the back of her car that they show you a bunch of times. It's got some red liquid dripping out of it. She comes across an abandoned car on her way home. Nobody is in it. There's nobody to be seen around, but she also feels like she's being watched because when she stops to get gas, we see that somebody is watching her. They're at the phone booth. They are very much in the like old school, like beige PI coat. But we don't see who it is at the time. Nobody around. She eventually gets home, gets into the house and starts making dinner, and Malcolm McDowell shows up at her doorstep.
Yeah.
And what happens, Chris?
What happens is the same thing that happened in that other movie where people were too polite and couldn't say no to somebody in their house, and he ends up coming in, which is weird.
Yeah, but we've seen a number of weird things going into this. Like, she's very odd in the way she is, like, doing things.
Yeah.
Like, we've got the hat box with the red liquid coming out of it, so we're supposed to be led to believe that it could potentially be blood.
Right.
She cuts herself while she's making dinner. She also then, like, she showers.
Yeah.
And then makes dinner in, like, a bathrobe, which that seemed weird to me. I know that's, like, a very small thing.
Well, she did.
But the fact that she
did the exercising, too.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So the shower, that part makes sense. And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's just being lazy and not getting dressed.
I don't know. Well, and she's talking. So Malcolm McDowell comes in and he's like, hello. My car broke down 6 or 7 miles away.
Yeah.
Could I use your phone to call a tow truck?
Yeah.
And first she's very skeptical because she's felt like somebody's been watching her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she's like, I don't know. I don't know, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And then he's like, come on. He's like, there's nobody else around. I know. I've been walking for hours. Let me just call the tow truck. And I'll be out of your way.
Yeah.
Bark, shut up. So
it worked.
Yeah, for a second.
Yeah.
Hey, could you chill out? We're trying to make podcast magic over here. Dummy. So he's now in the home with her and starts asking a bunch of questions that all seem very bizarre in just like the way he's like posing them. But she seems very weird and standoffish too. So like you're not really sure what to make of the two of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. After a few minutes, you start to get the idea that they're maybe playing a game with each other. She was supposed to be making dinner for her boyfriend. They could be role playing. At any second, this could, oh no, he's keeping this act up the whole time. What is happening? That's how my brain went.
Yeah. Yeah, because right before he shows up, she gets kind of like scared because she thinks somebody's there, and she picks up the phone and calls her daughter and says, hey, I just wanted to, what was her name? Allison?
Yeah.
I think was the daughter, or was the name of the supposed daughter. And she's like, hey, just, wanted to call, see how you're doing. I'm alone in the house, blah, blah, blah. So we know that, or we're led to believe, because again, this is a movie that there's a number of things that don't really make a whole lot of sense. Like when she returns to the house from the grocery store, she parks the car out front, but there's no garage. And then the car's in a garage for the rest of the movie. That's
true.
Which I thought was kind of weird. But I like for a movie that like I'd never even heard of this, man.
Me either.
There's some chops put into the writing in this, I'll say. Like, it's more than just, like, some throwaway direct-to-video thing. Like, there's definitely some smarts and some writing talent that went into to making this. Yeah. Because as it kind of builds out, like I very much was kind of like, oh, okay, there's some, like, they're married, and they're, like, doing, like, a role play thing. But then something else would happen, and it would be like, no, it seems like they're torturing each other in a weird sort of way.
Yeah.
And as the questions kind of fall out, and Malcolm McDowell is like, well, what if I thought you murdered your husband? And then they go into this thing about like, well, he's a cop and he's researching this murder. And then she's like, well, no, I don't know what you're and it gets very intense at a lot of points.
They do get personally confrontational for supposed strangers. And this was the point.
Both of them, not one or the other. So it's not like Malcolm McDowell is just like stalking her or whatever, because she seems to know an awful lot about him too.
Right. It's really weird. We're the outsiders in this one. We're for once watching something that we probably shouldn't be a part of, which is an interesting way to put the audience, because we're given no information. We have no idea what's going on.
None.
And
we will tread fairly lightly here because there are some major spoilers in this that if you haven't seen it, and since neither of us had heard of it, I'm assuming that most of you guys, this is probably would be something new for you too. So if we're going to go into a deep spoiler, we will say something beforehand. But this is definitely one I would say right now, if you're listening to this and you don't want any of this ruined and you want to get a better idea of exactly what this movie is, stop the review, watch the film, and come back to it. It is free to watch on Tubi. It's also the entire thing is up on YouTube also.
Right.
So from this point on, spoilers are open for Chris and I to discuss. So again, if you don't want it spoiled for you and you want to check it out, stop the review, watch it, come back to it, because from this point on, we're not going to hide anything out.
Yeah, because from here on, there are definitely things that are happening that we have to bring up because it propels the plot. So it's, but I don't think we're ever going to give them the real ending, because you got to earn that by watching.
Yeah, we'll leave that out.
I'm gonna say this movie will end in a way that you will not see coming.
Correct.
And I am completely and 100% honest about. I am really good at trying to figure stuff out. Like, oh, but that's a ghost that represents their what's it called? Their grief, and he's Kaiser Soze, and Bruce Willis is dead, and like there's a couple I didn't get, like who Turbo was in Wreck-It Ralph.
Sorry.
And I didn't know twists were a thing when I went to see The Empire Strikes Back, so that didn't happen. But I'm really good at figuring that stuff out. And this one got me.
Yeah, because it ends up somewhere where you weren't even thinking. 'Cause there's no inkling of where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's almost too much of a turn, but aside.
Right.
Yeah, it fooled me for the most part too. I had a couple things that were kind of, when I was like kind of in the wheelhouse for it, and I was like, oh, well, I think maybe this. And it kind of went there, but like I wouldn't say that I was able to call it.
Yeah.
Like any stretch of the imagination. But no, it's really well written. The thing that I found kind of difficult with it as I was watching it was that if you don't know what's going to happen, the way it jumps around doesn't make sense. So like she gets out of the shower, she calls the daughter, the other guy comes in, he calls the tow truck. They go back and forth about some stuff, but don't get too personal. But then like it fast forwards and it's the next morning and she's out running.
Yeah.
And he's just there.
Yeah, running like a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Like
she's running from something.
He says to her, "You have good form." And no, she doesn't. She looks like Tina Belcher running as fast as she can. Her arms are flailing.
She looks like Anna Faris running out of the room in Scary Movie when she's like, oh.
I was going to say she runs like Steven Seagal. Noodle arms. Fucking
albatross arms. She starts running. And she's just like,
but yeah, so she's doing a 23 mile, 4 minute 23.
Yeah, she comes back and she's like, 4.23.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and
what?
she's riding the exercise bike earlier, and she's not riding it like just for a calisthenic workout. She's like pushing herself as fast as she can go.
Yeah.
So that's a hint, but you'll never guess.
Right.
Never guess.
Right. But like it just jumps, and it does this a couple times. Then there's a point where she's in town, and then Malcolm McDowell's just there, and he takes her for this like terrifying ride in his like old Corvette through the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's just like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, like
so there's so much to think about. I'm getting so distracted just going back thinking about weird things that happen in this.
Well, and it's just, but at the same time, it's so simple.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect from this at all. Like I had no idea.
Right.
Like all the little things that kept popping up, like when she goes out, like the like her Jeep, like when like she's got a flat tire because she ran over a glass bottle.
Yep.
But like it's in a garage that there was no garage before.
Right.
And then like there's a point where like lightning strikes the house and a big fire breaks out. But we're like, okay, well, where did that come from? Because there's no rain or like.
Yeah. Yeah. But at that point, the movie had gone kind of weird. Yeah. So it was
It gets weird pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. It stays uncomfortable weird for a long time. And then it gets are kind of weird. Really good. Really well about halfway through. The thing that really solidified my thought that he was a ghost or she was going through grief and that was her husband was when he didn't show up in the photos. And also she has a dark room in her in her house, but he had the camera.
Yeah.
She developed color photos in her fucking bathroom.
Without the proper lighting, by the way, also.
Yeah. So at that point I thought, well, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then McDowell shows up watching the slides.
Right, just in the living room.
Yeah, all of a sudden. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm done. I sent my I walked in the other room. I told my wife, I said, this is how I think it's going to end. And later that night, I'm like, I had no fucking idea. That was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. It went.
Yeah, I loved your text message. Like, I think I got to figure it out. And then like a little while later, nope, sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah. It could have been a Babadook situation without the Babadook, just grief. But no, good for them. I mean,
yeah, no, it was very surprising.
Yeah.
Because at first, as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks because like it seems lazy and it's just shifting from point to point.
Yep. All they're going to do is
stuff,
talk. It's not going to be interesting.
Like none of this makes a lick of sense as to why this is happening or why that. But then like as it starts to play itself out, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All of this makes a lot of it actually is actually pretty brilliant the way it's put together.
Yeah, because
the ending is going to be divisive, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
For some people.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely doesn't I mean, it makes sense, I guess, but you're going to be like, what?
Yeah. I mean, with this, it's really the best thing is to just take the ride and just know that it's not going to end where you think it's going to.
For sure. But hats off to both actors and the actor and actress in this, McDowell and her. They both, I mean, they carry the film. There's nobody else. There's nobody else in it. But the two of them, and we know Malcolm McDowell, and how strong an actor he is, but the two of them play really, really well off each other, and both just like are just crazy enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
She gets crazy eyes a couple times, and you're like, oh, wait, maybe this is her. Maybe this is her doing this.
Yes. They do go from drama to sympathy to camp to
horror
straight up
movie,
horror. It jumps through. It's definitely like a police interview with the way things go around, because somebody's trying to piece something together, but they both are trying to piece things together, but she has more information than McDowell thought she did, but this is happening over here. McDowell knows this, and there were a lot of outlines, probably a lot of Post-it notes made for this movie just to keep track of who knows what.
Was there Post-it notes in 89?
I'm sure.
All right, then.
Let me see.
All right, well, let's...
When were Post-it notes invented?
All right, Chris, do you recommend, and what is your grade for The Caller?
Okay, so I like to know what the hell a title has to do with the movie. You find out eventually. It is explained, sort of. So it makes sense, and I'm fine with that. It did definitely keep my attention the whole time because it was weird. But it's not weird in like a Forbidden Zone kind of way. It's weird in a, I don't think people made movies like this. This is, we have so little information, and the movie seems to take pleasure in that fact that we don't know anything. So whatever they do, like we're instantly jumping from one character's side to the other based on a couple of sentences. And that's really smart. We change our allegiance to the characters multiple times throughout the whole thing. And so, yeah, I'm going to recommend this because it actually kept me interested. Especially when it's a difficult situation, like having someone in your house standing 2 feet away from you, accusing you of stuff. That's weird. But I'm going to give this a B+.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend it. I'm going to recommend it. It's definitely an interesting piece of work from a time period that there's really not a lot of like interesting little known kind of like artifacts. 89 direct-to-video was becoming a thing. This was definitely not something that was made for direct-to-video. It was MGM, if I'm not mistaken. And it must have been released into theaters at some point, but I'm definitely thinking it probably languished out there until they were able to get a pretty good VHS release of it, which then I don't think they probably would have known what to do with it.
Yeah, how do you market that?
I think now we can probably be better at making, those assumptions on films because we can do more research and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the time, I don't know what they would have done with this. But I'm definitely going to recommend it. It's well written for what it is. Its twists and turns seem like they don't make any sense until everything makes sense. Which is, I think, the key to a good movie is it has to make sense.
Yeah.
Even in a movie that's like an outlandish, like out there art film, there's got to be some sort of sense. Whether the sense makes sense.
Yeah.
Is another story. But like, you know what I mean, right?
Yep.
All right.
I do.
So as far as a grade, I'm going to give it a straight B. A little slow at a couple points. The eventual reveal and ending, I thought it was a little hokey.
Yeah.
But I get it.
You got to give him credit for having balls to do that.
For sure. So there you go.
Yeah.
There is The Caller. Moving forward 6 years to the year of 1995. Michael Dudikoff was struggling to keep his B-level action career alive. And all the rage of the time was virtual reality and virtual computers and internet and everything. Now, guys, listen. 1995, although being, 30 some odd years ago, is not that long ago. It's like, yes. I mean, it's not like 2 years ago. But I don't think anything has aged worse in films than the way the internet and cyberspace was portrayed in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like even like 1960s hokey sci-fi like stuff, I feel like aged better than what we thought the net was in the 90s, right?
We had no fucking idea what it was.
No idea. And this movie had no idea either because I'm pretty sure they just watched Die Hard and were like, let's do this, but with computers.
Yeah.
But not really.
Nope.
All right. I do have a trailer here. Let's see how that works. Is it a trailer? No, is this not a trailer? Also, why is it not playing? God damn it, Bill. Forgot to connect it. That's why it's not working. Stupid me. All right. We're almost there, guys. All right. Let's try that again.
Okay, so with The Caller.
All right. Hang on.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still going.
Nope, I got it.
Okay.
I've got it.
Cybercheck, the latest in high technology, and they want it.
Drop it! Gee, officer, was it really going that fast?
You ain't got no place to go, pal.
He couldn't forget his past.
Do you ever just wish you could go back in time and do things differently?
Every day.
But the ultimate computer virus would determine his future.
Suppose it happens again. Suppose our virus gets out and decides not to come back next time.
Your father assures me it's locked up.
Nothing would stop them from possessing it.
Dr. Royce, I presume.
Johnny?
But if one man possessed a supervirus, and with a single phone call could disrupt the entire matrix, indeed create instantaneous global chaos, then you would have to reckon with this man, would you not?
A world of computers now controlled by the will of one man.
After tonight, God will be lucky if I even return his phone call.
Have you activated the intrusion system?
Done deal, Coach. Ain't nobody coming in, ain't nothing going out.
You have to stop him.
I have to stop him.
I'll stall him as long
But the world was running out of time.
No, goddammit!
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. They were relentless. But even in death, they would not be denied.
Got a bad habit of killing my friends in that scene.
Cybercheck. Starring Michael Dudikoff as Nick James. Brian James as Nassim. Suki Kaiser as Alex. And John Cuthbert as Devon.
Officer James. Welcome back.
Cybercheck. High-tech thieves of the future. Coming soon.
So, as you would have heard there, Cyberjack was an AKA title for Virtual Assassin, which was released in the year of 1995, as they said, starring Michael Dudikoff, Suki Kaiser, Brian James, Johnny Cuthbert, James Thom, and some others. Directed by Robert Lee, who didn't direct a lot of stuff on his own, but he's worked on either as an assistant director or producer in places like Alone in the Dark, House of the Dead.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? At
Shoot
first
'em
I
up,
thought
though.
Alone in the Dark. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's not that shitty one, and it is.
No, it is. He was also
Shoot 'em
an
Up
assistant
was
director, and he also was an assistant director on Pompeii.
Okay.
So this film is like dead in the middle of the like 90s, like fear of the net and all of those things. That trailer, however long it was, really doesn't paint a picture of what this movie is. This is like legitimately. Have you seen Die Hard? Because it's Die Hard. It's Die Hard.
It is. It is.
I mean, even to the like squirming his way through the duct system.
Yeah.
The explosion from the tower.
Yeah.
Him taking out all the bad guys with snappy one-liners. Like it's so much Die Hard.
It is. It's
But the whole point is, so Brian James plays this bad like guy named Nassim. And Brian James is always a good time when he shows up and stuff.
not a well acted time, but a good time. I like him. I like him in movies.
sure.
I don't think his enunciation and articulation is good for him to be delivering commands like he did in this movie. He kind of does.
Yeah,
he
you're not
kind of
wrong.
does what I do, and I just stumble over the words, or they get kind of mixed together. Like there's one phrase in Star Wars. Han has to say the detention center, but it's just impossible. It's difficult to say, and it just merges together like this is engine center, you know. And I feel like that's happened a few times here. Now, you know what? Good for him for having a lead role as the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was in what, like Blade Runner, Fifth Element,
Yeah.
48 Hours, or maybe the sequel, another 48 Hours.
But his
He's been in
character,
tons of stuff.
Yeah. His character didn't come across to me as smart enough to pull this off.
Well, and one of the other issues too is this movie was made in the mid 90s, and every bad guy in the mid 90s was like a fucking walking comic strip. Like, so this, I mean, you know how ridiculous a bad guy is by how many leather trench coats they're wearing, and then how many pockets the trench coats have. And Brian James's was the longest with the most pockets, and also the largest shoulder pads.
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, and like his right hand girl was like, you know, like this like really angry black woman who had like a silver breastplate like sewed onto her body.
Yep.
And then like, of course, his other, like he had the crazy guy who was like, had the short bleach blonde hair that was just too nuts for everybody. And
yeah. Clearly the woman was supposed to be Grace Jones from Conan the Destroyer.
Or Grace Jones from In Living Color, as played by,
Or Grace Jones.
or just Grace Jones.
I mean, she could pull that off going anywhere. So that's fine.
So the thing is, Dudikoff as a leading action hero, he's the best of the B guys. Like, he really is. And to his credit, he does the best he can with this movie. I kind of like how they worked in the whole thing. Like, Nasir killed his partner, so that's why he left the force, and now he's a mess, and he's got to work as a janitor to get by, and he owes a bunch of money for sports betting. So they keep bringing the baseball game into it to like signify that like he's running out of time because his bookie was basically like, listen, you don't win this time, and we're not gonna break your legs. We're gonna take your legs.
Yeah. You have forfeited use of your legs.
We're going to take them with us.
Yeah.
So like that's good, and Dudikoff does his part, and then you got Suki Kaiser, who is of course the hot redhead who we're supposed to believe is like this like brilliant cybernetic computer genius, even though she's like maybe 22.
Yeah.
She's there for sex appeal and only sex appeal.
Absolutely.
It's enjoyable for what it is, but like, just like so many direct-to-video films from this time period, there is nothing beyond like the surface on this.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no original writing. They slap the virtual assassin title on it, or the cyberjack or whatever, to like, and it's not even like virtual assassin isn't even like a right title for it.
No.
There's this software that's a virus that they've created, and he's going to download it into his brain.
Yeah.
And somehow he's going to then be able to control, I don't know, everything.
Sure. Because the virus is not just a digital virus, but it's made with some biological component. So that's when I checked out of the movie, and that was in the beginning. Because this movie was telling me that they created a transmissible computer virus,
which at some point gets out and crashes like a bus. It's a sky bus or whatever.
Oh, yeah. This movie is totally set in the future. The first thing we get is some like low quality Avengers looking minibus to take them all out on Hawkeye's stag do.
Yeah, it's the distant future where all of the cops drive Toyota Corollas.
Yeah. Well, hey, they've lasted that long, so
that's a good point. Sometimes they have laser guns, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the same gun is sometimes a laser gun.
Yes. But those guns are from Time Cop. So I like that. I like when I see reused stuff in bad movies. Like, yeah, you had to have somebody better do that for you, didn't you? Yeah. This movie's a mess.
Yeah.
It's
but again, like most movies from this time period.
Yeah. But this also, it's direct to video, obviously, right?
I mean, technically it probably got a release. I don't think it was made direct to video. I think there's a lot of films that were made and it was like, well, if we can get a release for it, cool. If not, it'll just be direct. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Let's see. A release date, September 19th, 1995. Video premiere. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the age of it too, isn't it? The video cameras with cheap editing software or whatever was getting good.
Yep. I mean, you get someone like Dudikoff, and I really like Michael Dudikoff. Like American Ninja is one of my favorite, like kind of like cheesy.
Yeah, if you're looking
like,
for a quiet, stoic guy with a tender side, that's your guy.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. I got no problems with him.
Yeah.
It's the laziness in the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Where just the Die Hard ripoffs, like, I mean, and we know there's a lot of Die Hard ripoffs out there. We could do a list of your top 10 Die Hard ripoffs, like very easily.
Yeah.
But like this one's real lazy, and they really were kind of like, all right, we'll make it like this virtual computer thing. Whereas like going into a film titled Virtual Assassin.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, oh, okay, so there's like a killer that's manifesting himself through like virtual reality or through the web or whatever, the net or whatever we're calling it in 1995. And you don't really like that comes into such a minor minor thing at the end of the film that it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I missed this, but it's probably not a part of the movie. Is there any time when they say that everybody has a chip in them or in their brains or something, since it's the future, then this virus that can work with biological stuff and computer stuff would actually be a threat? Was that a plot point? Probably not.
It was, I mean, it was implied, but never said.
Okay. So it didn't happen. See that, like my theory of one sentence can fix everything, for each thing. In a movie, it again plays out because there's no reason. Like, why do you need this virus? What are you doing? And why does it take you so fucking long to get it? They are in that place for ages.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the future. They didn't just download it onto a 2 gig thumb drive or something, or a 2 terabyte thumb drive and just walk away with it. And let me ask you this. How come the black computer hacker had to be black and Jamaican?
That's the other thing with movies from this time period is like nobody can just have a gang of dudes.
Right. Right.
They all roll in like some sort of like cybernetic village people.
Yeah.
The one guy's the cowboy. The black girl's the like barbarian.
Yep.
The black guy's the Jamaican guy.
Right. Right. Yeah, he's got glasses. He's the smart computer hacker. This is so cliched, so stereotypical. It's the opposite of the other movie we watched.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And with that said, whoops, I didn't hit that. All right, Chris, do you recommend what's your grade for Virtual Assassin, aka Cyberjack?
I'm gonna say no, but you knew that.
I'm gonna give that a no, dog.
And the thing is, like, I am glad you talked a lot because I don't remember a fucking thing about this except that one control room, him yelling a lot, and then a bunch of darkness where this dude's like sneaking around. Like, I don't remember huge plot points or anything. As you said them, I'm like, oh yeah, but this movie is gonna
that was a thing.
This movie is absolutely 100% forgettable. I feel like it's sort of a waste of time to watch because you're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So that's a no from me, dog. And D.
All right.
D, middle D. I was going to go minus,
D
but no.
For Dudikoff.
Yes. Yes, not dumb.
So I guess I'm not going to recommend it either. Only way I can say you should check this out is if you are like a Michael Dudikoff completist.
Yeah. Or if you love that absurd time.
Right. Or if you're like, I need to watch every Die Hard ripoff that's ever been made.
That's the best reason. That's the best reason.
It's not good. It's not good. It's lazy. Dudikoff does his best to like do his thing, but like in the list of his movies, like this is really, really far down there. And he's got some real stinkers in his filmography.
Yeah.
Brian James does his best. I think the only thing that's kind of redeeming is the ridiculousness of the gang.
Yeah.
Like I said, like a cybernetic village people strolling in to the place. Ridiculous. And then the cops show up and the cops have this like floating drone that apparently judges people whether they did it or not because it tries to kill Dudikoff a bunch of times.
It really feels like a bunch of ideas that couldn't be fit into other scripts were all put together for this.
I'm gonna say to the director of this movie in my best Randy Jackson voice, yo, bro, maybe directing ain't your thing. Maybe directing ain't your thing, man.
Yeah.
Maybe you do something else. Maybe you're a good key grip.
Hey,
apparently you're a pretty good assistant director.
Assistant director is a respectable job.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give it a D for Dudikoff too, dog. Yeah, no, it's not good. Not good. Very skippable. Very skippable.
Yeah.
But was Scary Movie 3 skippable?
Oh, this also has my favorites. Can I tell you now? Wait.
Well, yeah, because he's already recorded it, so we need to see if he brings it up.
Let me just make sure. What is this, 3?
I believe we're on 3, yeah.
All right. Is this the one with the aliens? The ring signs. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. No, wait. My prediction. The funniest thing in the entire series is when they're out back. It's Anthony Anderson and Anna Faris, and I want to say Leslie Nielsen, and there's two aliens. And Anthony, they do this whole let's get ready to go. And Anthony Anderson, he's holding the shovel. Everybody's got like blunt force instruments. And Anderson goes, let's go. And he cocks the shovel and shotgun shells fly out of it. That is so completely unexpected. But like the arm motion and the stuff he said is exactly what happens. And then getting the shotgun ready is exactly what happens. But they gave him a shovel. I was just like, all right. This doesn't redeem the movie, but that was a funny sight.
This is the one where they bring in like 8 Mile and Simon Rex is like a rapper and he's like, brother, he's like, Anthony Edwards is just like hugging him. He's like, I would do anything for you, dog. Anything. All right, let's see what Joe thought.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris. And hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here. And well, this week, Bill took me to a place that I can't make a joke about because I haven't seen this movie and I know almost nothing about it. He made me watch Scary Movie 3. I think they parody Signs. I'm not sure. Can we talk about Signs for a moment? So M. Night Shyamalan gets a big-ass hit with The Sixth Sense. And great. Yes. Good movie. Middling success with Unbreakable. Fine. The fact that it wasn't a massive hit, I think, had an effect on him. Because now it seems like all he does are movies based in that world. And then Signs. And Signs is fine. It's a good movie. However, when Signs came out, I was managing my old video store and went with friends to see it, and everyone lost their fucking mind over it. Like, everyone has at least one movie that was a huge success, and you just don't understand how or why. Like, the movie's fine, but like it became this massive success and you're like, wait, that's the movie we all chose? Mine is Signs. I also distinctly remember thinking that when this hits my video store, I could order 200 copies and it still won't be enough. And customers
for 3 weeks.
Absolutely not going to be understanding about that. And guess who won the Retail Hell Award with that prediction? The only movie that was a bigger pain in my video rental ass was My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Fuck. After every copy I had was gone within an hour of opening the store the day it came out, I ordered twice the original amount, and it still wasn't enough. And after the 78th half-drunk suburban stepmom screamed in my face because she couldn't rent the wedding movie, I decided that maybe a customer-facing position is not for me, and I haven't worked retail since.
Not for me, dog.
There's actually a much deeper place I could go with this, but I'm trying to get a chuckle buster out of you folks, and I don't want to kill the vibe. Needless to say, your uncle might have lingering issues from being there for the fall of Saigon, but he's still a pussy because he didn't have to work at Ion Video in Kentwood, Michigan when My Big Fat Fucking Greek Wedding came out on video. Charlie Sheen is in this, and I don't remember if this was before or after his weird tiger blood, ranting, raving, holding porn stars hostage in his home thing. But let's be real. After the 90s, Charlie Sheen was just creepy and gross and reached the pinnacle of his fame by making ridiculous, grandiose statements. Kind of like the Iron Sheik, but at least Sheiky Baby has an excuse. He has CTE and is extremely senile. Sheen just has a lifelong coke problem and a shitty dad.
Sheen's was 2011.
The movie starts out with Jenny McCarthy, gross,
that was the tiger blood,
and Pamela Anderson, less gross, but still. And if you think that casting these two ladies in 2003 was dated and lame, wait until you hear these fucking jokes. They're doing like The Ring, but I don't remember two busty, blonde, 36-year-old ladies dressed as Catholic schoolgirls in The Ring. Unless I watched the wrong version. Sometimes that shit can get confusing. We are fully in Signs parody after the open, and I knew that Charlie Sheen was like kind of taking the lead here, and Anna Faris is like co-lead at best. And this was obviously a, yeah, okay, sure, I'll do one more of these movies out of a sense of obligation to the franchise that launched me. But as soon as this one is done, I'm fucking out, losers. I'm going to go marry a guy who seems great, but turns out to be a big old piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It also co-stars Simon Rex. If someone, I need you all to listen to me very closely right now. If someone, anyone, anywhere can explain to me why or how the fuck Simon Rex became even reasonably successful, I will give them $1,000. Like, I don't know whose dick he sucked to get where he got,
The head
but
of
it must have
MTV.
been the best work he ever did.
Because he was an MTV guy, wasn't he?
I'd also love to talk
I don't even
about
know
the
who it
8
is.
Mile parody they did for about 20 minutes here, but none of us have that kind of time. Here's the short of it. I lived 1 block north of 8 Mile on the east side of Detroit. Technically Warren, but, you know, I could throw a golf ball from my front yard and hit Detroit. Here's the thing, though. It's fine. The street, it's fine. It's fine. The club you see in the movie is the basement of St. Andrews Hall, which is in downtown Detroit, about 10 miles south of 8 Mile. If they really wanted to show you hood-ass Detroit, they'd have gone to 7 Mile and Joy Road, but movie productions have insurance things to worry about. But nope. Nope. I started to get into it. Moving on. It's all The Ring and Signs until The Matrix. The Matrix. God damn this movie. The Matrix was almost 5 years old when Scary Movie 3 came out. There was a Matrix joke in Scary Movie 1. What the what? The amount of times I said, what the fuck, watching this movie had to have broken some sort of personal record. Hey, everyone, do you want to know how entertaining Scary Movie 3 is so far?
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
I just looked over at my sink and thought, well, those things aren't going to wash themselves. And I took myself a 10-minute break from the movie to wash dishes, and guess what? It was more fun than Scary Movie 3.
I don't doubt it.
Nothing can sum this movie up better than what just happened. I'm about half an hour past the dishwashing incident, by the way. Earlier, I thought, man, these jokes are so lame. It's like that handful of movies that Leslie Nielsen did late in his life, where they were terrible, but you still like Leslie Nielsen. He's charming, and like, you know, he's got his dirty grandpa jokes, and they're great. I mean, not really. They're great in his way. And then guess who shows up in this movie? Leslie fucking Nielsen shows up as the president, and I got $1,000 that says he plays a charmingly stupid character.
Oh, come on. No, he doesn't.
Well, I just took another break from that movie to clip my fingernails, and you guessed it, more fun than this movie. These movies are so fucking busy. It is honestly, it's so hard to pick out what to pick on. So here's the thing. The good. I guess there was like a few chuckles here and there. I guess Anna Faris is still the glue. Like, I've seen way worse. The bad. You can definitely tell that anybody named Wayans pieced out after part 2. This was clearly written by like 50-year-old white dudes who grew up in the suburbs but watched BET and listened to a lot of hip-hop. Like, my dad makes better dad jokes than this movie, and he's not even one of those old dudes who's like the king of dad jokes. Like, oh yeah, my buddy Doug, his dad, king of the dad jokes. No, my dad isn't like that, and my dad still makes better jokes than this. The jokes were more lame than a Charles Dickens character meant to draw sympathy. Scary Movie 3 pass fail is definitely a fail. And now we get to the dark part of the review. I'll be back next week with Scary Movie 4.
Man.
Which I'm sure will pull the movie out of this nosedive.
Don't count on it.
Absolutely sure of it. Until then, be good, everyone.
So apparently, Chris, your joke only hit you.
Yeah, that's fine. But you know what? It sounded like he was having a really terrible time. So
Yeah, it didn't sound like it went well.
no.
All right.
Hey, I got a funny bit of trivia here. This is trending, posted on Facebook here by the Sarcasm Society. NFT bought by Logan Paul for $623,000, now worth $10.
What a dick.
NFTs were the dumbest fucking thing.
Why would anybody have thought that they were a good idea?
I thought it was a scam from the beginning.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Somebody got rich. Good for them. Somebody
Good for
didn't.
them.
Sorry.
I mean, whatever. All right.
People get scammed all the time.
Back in the day, I would sometimes send in a classic holy shit segment that I was proud of, because I didn't have much time to put together something new. And then Bill would shit on me for that, because he would never.
I feel almost more accomplished, like, reworking old stuff than I do when we do new stuff, because I listen back and I'm like, oh, this is when I put work into this.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Stupidity is what's
I know,
going on.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott.
Hey, man, fuck you.
I love you too. So 2 weeks ago, I sent you the infamous 50 Shades of Scott segment to put in at the end of the show instead of a traditional classic holy shit. A segment that, even though it's nearly 10 years old now, has never left the mind of any individual that's ever listened to it. I bet you listened to it again, Bill, and I know exactly what you were thinking as you heard it.
Oh, shit. This is hot.
Yeah.
And you're right to think that, because it was. But as much as I'd like to sit around and reminisce about the good times of the distant past, we need to instead focus on the more recent past. Because last weekend, I saw a movie based on a Nintendo game. Again. But before I tell you more about that, I need to get my blocks in a row and rate some trash you covered last week. Starting with Punk Rock, a movie that was totally not a porn, from a director of many famed totally not porn movies.
The Good Slave's Reward.
Sounds like they're not brave enough to go full porn.
Spanks a lot.
Getting there.
I'll tell you what the plot was, but I don't remember. And I'm not sure you really told me. What you did say is...
They basically took out all of the hardcore sex scenes and added the punk rock bands.
Okay.
So
now the
that's why
movie
this-
makes perfect sense.
And it, infinitely more enjoyable if you watch it knowing that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Porn is always better.
It puts more sauce into your mouth.
Yeah, sure. But this was no porn. But don't get me wrong, it sure wanted to be.
When they play pinball for oral sex, that suddenly makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really did, man.
Yet, despite that, you still seem to insist on calling it a porn movie.
Okay, so for a porn movie, there's actually okay of a plot. More than I would expect.
But you know what I did expect? Punk rock music. But I never got to hear any of the music from the movie, so I don't really know what it sounded like.
You know what type of music it doesn't sound like? Punk rock music.
That is true. That is true.
And as amazing as that sounds, that's not going to save this movie from me giving it a C-. And I give the review a B-. But enough about fake porn. Let's talk about a fake documentary, Alternative 3. Tell us about the plot, Bill.
Let me tell you about fucking Alternative 3, man. There's little green men up there giving each other hand jobs over the Russians.
Sounds amazing. It literally turned Bill into a science nerd.
If you take the mass divided by the acceleration rate to the third degree, we will then move past an atmospheric dismemberment.
Yeah.
I just am having a hard time believing it's fake, to be honest.
There still is a conspiracy theory group that believes it's real.
What?
Well, I know that. I run the Alternative 3 Facebook group, and Chris is the treasurer.
Yep. There's no way I would ever found about this because I'm not a crazy conspiracy theorist like you are.
Well, I'm not, but I like seeing what they're thinking.
That's what you put out there and for everyone to know, but you know your deep state. You know your deep throat.
I'm going to disconnect now.
Oh, no.
And that's it. Thank you, everybody.
And since that was the end of the show, I'll end this review of Alternative 3 with a straight B. But I give the review a B+. Okay, let's move on from trash to some gold, because I not only got to see a movie based on a Nintendo game again, but this time I got to take my 4-year-old to her first movie ever, and we actually did go see the Super Mario Brothers movie. Bet you thought I was still talking about Tetris, didn't you?
Hey, did you know?
No.
And we didn't just go see Super Mario Brothers in just any old theater for her first movie. We went to the IMAX theater. And now is the time when I would typically start telling you about the movie. But to be honest, I spent most of the time looking over at my daughter as she went, ooh, and ah, just totally in awe of the giant screen and the stadium seats and the blue accent lights and having her own reclining chair. And then the movie started, and she was blown away. She was giggling, laughing, smiling, pretending to be scared of Bowser, whispering to me, "That's Princess Peach." And she was right. It was. So after having seen it, would I say that the Super Mario Brothers movie is high art or the pinnacle of modern video game adaptations? Fucking of course not. I'd be lying if I said it's not aimed at kids with just enough member berries for someone who lived through the last few decades of Mario games to get hit with some nostalgia here and there. I think we all fall for that more often than not.
The human race is fucking stupid.
Yeah, obviously.
But honestly, I couldn't care less, because that little kid was having a fucking blast regardless. All of the voice actors did fine, even Chris Pratt as Mario. I laughed quite a bit. The story was easy to follow and made total sense for a movie about a game that barely had any plot to begin with. And as a movie to just go see for yourself, I'd give it a straight B. But as a movie to watch with your kid for her first movie ever, I give that an A+. Okay, I'm done with all that sappy dad stuff.
It's just so fucking weird.
You know you love that shit.
I think that's a good thing, right?
I don't know.
No one asked you. But if you asked me what was coming up on OTC next week, I would tell you to make sure you tune in as Bill and Chris talk about the first time in their own punk rock movie.
It's a little meaty. I like it. Yeah.
It's got some girth to it.
Yeah, but I don't want it to make me feel like I'm the poor girl from Evil Dead with slices her tongue open.
And then Bill gets tired of hearing what I'm talking about because I'm not showing him rockets.
What is this guy talking about? Show me rockets.
And finally, Bill and Chris thank me for a new segment in the most Bill and Chris way possible.
Good on you for doing this, but should you?
You said it with like a
good on you, I guess. But on the other hand, should you have?
All that and so many other things I shouldn't have done. But until then, peace and love, guys. Holy shit with Reverend Scott.
Are we just filling time to make sure the show's the right length?
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. Next week, 2 yokai monster movies.
Right.
Spook Warfare and
100
Monsters.
Yeah.
I believe they're both available on Shudder. They'll be Patreon picks. If you'd like to help out the show, keep us alive, go to patreon.com/outsidethecinema. Sign up for our monthly Patreon, which gives you access to all of our show archives. Plus, you get the episodes early each and every week, and hopefully someday I will commit to getting these commentaries done. Go to the groups page on Facebook, search Outside the Cinema. Follow Chris and I on Instagram at Cthulhu and at OTC Bill. That's it for this week, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.